Marianville Girls Secondary celebrates Golden Jubilee. Public servants begin beautification exercise. Barramundis win first one-day test match against Kenya.
This is National EMTV News with Mary Bartolo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us for Saturday's news. The Marianville Girls Secondary School is commemorating its Golden Jubilee this weekend. It began its celebrations with the arrival of the founding principal, Sister Elaine Cochran, on Thursday. Our reporter and former student, Tekla Gunga, was at the start of the celebrations last night and files this report.
This is the first night for the 50th anniversary celebrations for Marianville Secondary School. It is 7:30 and already we have about 500 former and current students present here on campus. Now this is probably one of the only times the former students will meet with their former classmates and catch up with their teachers. Opening remarks were made by current principal Sister Angela Taylor, followed by item presentations and the sharing of experiences by former students. Marianville Secondary was established in 1966 by the Our Lady of the Sacred Heart Catholic nuns.
In the early 1960s, the availability of secondary education for the female population of Papua New Guinea was almost non-existent.
The school began with just over 40 students, some of whom were present during the celebrations last night and today. Since 1966, the school has educated over 7,000 young women from all parts of the country. This morning, the former students commenced celebrations with a dawn service at the Bomana War Cemetery before marching back to the school. We are into the second day celebrations for the Golden Jubilee for Marianville Secondary School. Now what the current students have done is that they've gone out to the different locations in their 4 house colors. Current students then proceeded with a float around the city under police escort before returning to Marianville for the main celebrations. For former students, the different events today was a journey down the memory lane for them and brought tears to many.
Remembering is an important aspect of celebration.
The celebrations will continue into the night and will end with a joint service tomorrow evening. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
One of the main markets in Port Mosby has been shut by the National Capital District Authority. The famous Manu market located at Korobose was closed as vendors were told to sell their produce in other markets in the city. However, vendors say the shutdown will disrupt their daily income, which they heavily depend on.
Manu Market supplies residents living in Mosby South with fresh vegetables, fruits, seafood, store goods, including the illegal contraband betel nut. Angry vendors pleaded to authorities and the police not to close the market. But Paul Comby, director of NCDC Enforcement Unit, said the market was illegal and also a safety hazard in the city. He said vendors will be relocated to other proper venues.
Executive management of NCDC decided the market should be closed and should be closed permanently, which means we have to relocate the vendors back down to Koki and Sabama market, which it has been rehabilitated properly.
Meanwhile, street vendors say the market has been always safe, unlike other markets in the nation's capital. Vendors say the plan to relocate them to other markets will be impossible because of the territorial arguments vendors usually have. Charlie Pengi, manager of NCDC Market Division, said he was 80% sure that other markets will be able to cater them.
The fresh produce, as I said, we have Koki and Sabama. Right now, if you see at Sabama, it's not fully utilized by the vendors.
With the closure of Gordon's Market soon and the opening of Baroko Market, many vendors are still unsure whether they will sell their goods and make their daily living. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National EMTV News.
The Central Provincial Administration, in conjunction with the Conservation Environmental Protection Authority, completed a 3-day workshop yesterday for the Kokoda Initiative Master Plan. The workshop looked at how stakeholders can work more effectively to achieve better outcomes for Kokoda track communities in the Koyari local level government. Central Provincial Administrator Gay Raga said the objectives of the workshop was to develop and provide a clear mechanism through which Kokoda track communities' views can be reflected in the Kokoda Initiative Operational Plan. A similar workshop will be held for the Kokoda people in Oro Province in the near future. Independent Consumer and Competition Commission boss Paulus Ein says fuel prices have increased, but there is some level of uncertainty over the next several months. Lay City PNV bus owners have called for an increase in bus fares and a change of routes because they say spare parts which have to be imported have become expensive, and the ICCC is the only body that can allow an increase. While imported spare parts have remained expensive, the ICCC Commissioner says fuel prices are expected to remain at affordable levels because of an oversupply in world markets.
Lay City bus owners are calling for an increase in bus fare to meet the costs for imported spare parts and fuel. The ICCC has called for a meeting to discuss the two concerns. While spare parts dealers have been reluctant to talk about their prices, bus owners are feeling the pinch. They've asked for answers. The fuel prices in the country have remained relatively low because of oversupply from producing countries for the last 6 months. But the prices are slowly increasing as demand grows. The ICCC is the only statutory body that can set PNV bus fares. Today, the Commissioner, Paulus Ein, told EMTV that fuel prices have increased slightly and bus fare adjustments have been made annually.
Fuel price has been decreasing over the 16 to 17 months. Fuel price reduction, so the increases were very minimal. So that's why we only gave them at least a 10 to depending on the locations of the transport or PNV sectors in this country.
In the fuel sector, Puma Energy holds a considerable amount of market share. If there should be any difficulties getting fuel into the country, fuel will have to be sought after by consumers.
Now, in a likely event that supply is shortage, then there is always an allowance or provision where parties can go out and source their own fuel to supply the market, so we maintain consistency in the supply of fuel products in the market.
The fuel supply in the world remains high, so import prices for suppliers like Puma Energy remains affordable. But once world prices for crude oil, petrol and diesel rises, Puma Energy will need to keep up with the demand and use foreign currency in reserves that are already lacking in the central bank, while there is also a backlog to be dealt with. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lay.
The urgent need for investment in human resources of Pacific cultures was discussed at the 12th Festival of Pacific Arts. One way is to increase collaboration of cultural development activities. Fabian Hakalitz has this report from Guam.
The 27th Council of Pacific Arts and Culture meeting in Guam this week discussed ways to preserve and promote culture. Focus was on development of cultural industries in the Pacific region that will require funding support from each government. The importance of mainstreaming culture into the national trade policy frameworks and the ICT developments are part of the recommendations to develop cultural industries. This will help support the protection of traditional knowledge and cultural intellectual property. Preserving culture through education curriculum like that of the University of South Pacific's Oceania Center of Arts is one way to develop culture. A recommendation is for ministers to support the capacity building human resources, including cultural statistics. Now, the Council further recommends that ministers support their country's continuous efforts in mainstreaming culture into the disaster risk reduction and increased capacity in the area. In Guam, Fabian Hakalitz, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll be back with more after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. All employees of government agencies were out on the streets of Port Mosby on Friday as part of the PNG Public Service Cleanathon and Beautification exercise. The exercise is an initiative of the National Organising Committee, who wants to ensure all government office premises and the surrounding environments are clean and tidy.
Port Mosby is already host to a number of important world leaders attending international events. Last week, Secretary for Department of Personnel Management John Cully sent a circular instruction for all national department heads, public servants and employees to clean up around their office premises and surrounding environment to prepare the city for the visiting world leaders. It was all hands on deck for the public servants and department heads who were seen doing their bit around the city.
What you see here is a small part of a bigger team. We started at 1 o'clock today. Department of Finance staff that have been involved in cleaning the city, that we will continue to do this. We'll support the NCDC, the good work that our good governor is doing and his team at NCDC to keep our city clean.
The National Organising Committee has been established to ensure that the APEC conference meets the world-class standards expected by the leaders from the Asia-Pacific countries and around the world. The cleanathon and beautification efforts will be performed quarterly, with the government calling on all agencies to support this worthy cause. Deli Waigeno, National, EMTV News.
Transport Department Secretary Roy Mumu says the National Maritime Safety Authority will undergo an audit this year. The audit will be carried out by the International Maritime Organization of the United Nations. Mr. Mumu made this announcement when launching the country's first global maritime distress and safety system in Port Mosby this week.
This global maritime distress and safety system will enable members of the National Maritime Safety Authority to monitor distress calls and be able to communicate directly to shipping vessels in the ocean. The system, however, cannot cope with small craft and vessels that carry less than 300 gross tons. The GMDS system will need additional features to communicate directly with smaller vessels. However, it can pick up distress calls and radio communication from ships traveling within PNG waters and overseas.
Management is also exploring other technology that is secure, sustainable and affordable that our people can use, which can be aligned to our GMDSS project so that we can be able to assist our people in the provinces.
The equipment was purchased by the Australian government with additional funds from the NMSA, totaling up to nearly 5 million kina.
Economic development, for trade, safety, and to better integrate and improve the integration of Papua New Guinea's economy into the global economy.
Transport Secretary Roy Mumu said these maritime infrastructures were essential to upgrade and maintain quality of maritime safety regulations and standards compliance in the industry.
This new coastal radio allows PNG to meet international obligations and make travel safer for those in our waters.
Mr. Mumu announced that in September this year, the International Maritime Organization will be carrying out an audit on NMSA and this equipment is necessary.
They will be looking at all maritime safety aspects of the audit, and GMDSS is one of those. So launching it is very timely, and that's what I was referring to.
The introduction of this GMDS system will enable maritime officers to pick up all frequencies and will also replace the rundown coastal radio system in the country. Quinten Alomp, National EMTV News.
SP Brewery has launched its second television campaign video to encourage responsible drinking. Corporate Relations Manager John Nilkare said as the industry leader, SP Brewery wants to continue to send out a strong message for people to practice responsible consumption of alcohol.
This second television campaign is part 2 of the Keep Your Cool video, which has been airing on most Papua New Guinea television stations for several months. SP Brewery Corporate Relations Manager John Nilkare said the feedback from the first video shows it has been driving home a strong message.
Initially, when we launched the TVC, it moved a lot of viewers in that the content really struck a chord at the hearts and minds of the viewers. we felt as industry leaders, we needed to send out a strong message to people about responsible consumption of alcohol.
The new Keep Your Cool video, which was launched yesterday, promotes good decision-making.
To say that basically it's okay to have a beer, but we've got to do it responsibly. And this one is where we will see the father doing the right thing, having a beer, but making sure he goes home and fulfills those important family obligations.
The television campaign, which will run concurrent to the first one, will begin airing on all TV stations as of the 1st of June.
Keep your cool, don't drink like a fool, drink responsibly.
Deli Waigeno, National, EMTV News.
Panamax Limited in Leh drew its winner of a nationwide competition yesterday, a promotion for one of its major products, Anchor. Marketing manager Peter Narayan says the company's customer relations goals continue to focus on the livelihood of locals, hence promoting household items in these competitions. This year, the company put up 5 1,000-litre water tanks as winning prizes. Momase's draw, held at Leh's Raumai shop, attracted more than 200 shoppers within Leh and outside districts who came into the city to get supplies. You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. We have cricket, OFC and rugby league. Stay with us for the details.
Wood, here's a chance. Good save by Tananisau. Oh, and it's ended up in the back of the net. Robson's ball in. Oh, and a chance here for Fallon. It's deflected into the back of the net. And then just pushes him in the back. Pretty looking away, and it's in the back of the net. Tuiloma lays it back. Fallon, deflection. Takes the run up the shot. Oh, and it's in the back of the net.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with cricket, and Papua New Guinea defeated Kenya by 6 wickets in the first one-day match today. The Barramundis reached their target of 188 with 93 balls to spare at Amini Park. Batting first, the Kenyans suffered a bottom-order collapse, finishing at 8 for 185 after 47 overs. Irfan Karim, the standout, with 73 of 115 balls. Kenya set a target of 188 for Papua New Guinea, but this was easily reached following superb batting from openers Lega Siaka and Vani Vagi Morea, who set the stage for a convincing win, racing off to none for 41 after 6 overs. The next match between both teams is on Monday. The Japan women's under-20 side continued their Tri-Nation winning streak after thumping rivals USA 5-0 at the Sejongai Stadium in Port Mosby last night. Team USA was left scoreless at the full-time whistle by a very technical Japan team that outplayed the Stars and Stripes to stamp their mark as defending champions.
It all started in the early stages of the first half when Japan striker Juri Kawano nailed the first for Japan after she was denied by US goalkeeper Rose Chandler. As the game progressed, US were not given room to move the ball. Japan were clinical in their passing game and made US to work hard. In the 38th minute, Japan's counter-attack proved menacing as midfielder Wako Kanda scored Japan's second. USA, however, gaining momentum from several saves by Chandler, denying Japan from scoring. Advanced down the line for a few moments, but couldn't get past Japan's impenetrable defense. Japan's clinical 1-2 touches were on display when Miyabi, Moria and Juri Kawano combined to set up striker. Yuki Mizutani to nail Japan's third at halftime. USA came back in the second half with some fighting spirit. Midfielder Kelly Head set up Ashley Sanchez with a shot at goal but was called offside. But that was not enough. Japan hit back through striker Juri Kawano, getting his second of the night with a perfect volley over Chandler. The final blow came at the last quarter of the match when Japan's Miyabi Moriya was brought down in the penalty box and Kawano again stepped up to take the penalty, sealing a 5-goal thrashing over Team USA. USA will take on PNG in the final match of the Tri-Nations Series on Monday at the Sir John Guy Stadium. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
This afternoon, New Zealand All Whites opened their OFC Nations Cup campaign with a 3-1 win over Fiji. The All Whites defender scoring the first goal in the 15th minute. Minutes later, All Whites Rory Fallon scored the second goal. Fiji's Roy Krishna having the deficit with a smoothly taken penalty right on halftime after Setareki Hughes was brought down in the penalty area. However, on the hour mark, a handball against Fijian defender Avinash Swami allowed New Zealand to restore their 2-goal advantage, Captain Chris Woods slotting past Simeone Tamanithau. Meanwhile, PNG is preparing to take on New Caledonia at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Paradise Beverage is the official sponsor for the OFC Nations Cup with their water brand True True Wara. 1,500 litres have already been given to the Under-20 Women's Tri-Nations competition. OFC officials also received 5,000 litres.
It's a boost of confidence for the whole country and our soccer team especially, and I hope that we come out on top.
As we come to Papua New Guinea, a lot of the nations will be consuming, teams will be consuming the water. They don't come from such hot climates, so it's crucial that we keep the teams hydrated.
To rugby league, and after the Kumul's historic win against the Fiji Batis, Kumul's captain David Mead commended the PNG Rugby Football League on the major improvements of the code in the country and the PNG Hunters program. Mead expressed this in front of Kumul's coach Michael Marum at the National Football Stadium on Friday.
Minister for Sports Justin Chichenko and PNG Hunters chairman Graham Osborne were present as well at the conference. David Mead arrived in the country on Monday with his wife and son Paxton. He will be out of the NRL for the next 4 weeks after picking up a knee injury. He spoke about the Pacific Test and his appointment as captain and the players he thought stood out during the match.
Got a bit emotional, Michael will know. Pretty big honour for me to represent the country. Live 30 minutes from town. I know the people of PNG love, in Tubusera village, people of Papua New Guinea love their rugby league, and to be able to go out and represent, not only all of Papua New Guinea, but, more importantly, my family.
Mead also commended the PNG RFL and the work done with the Hunters. Coach Michael Marum says it was a win they wanted to achieve, and if given the opportunity to coach the Kumuls again for the 2017 World Cup, they would have to start preparing as early as possible.
We got some other players playing overseas. They're performing well, and we have to pick the best players. Those players that probably played Fiji, it's not guaranteed their spot in the no one's guaranteed a spot in the 2017 World Cup.
There are talks of the PNG LNG Kumuls playing a friendly match between USA later this year.
Here we go forward. I don't know when we are having one next. There are talks about a game with USA later on in the year, but we're unsure whether it's going to happen.
It has taken a lot of effort from many people in a short period of time to get PNG Rugby League to where it is now. Mead thanked the sponsors for their continuous support towards the Kumuls and wished the PNG men's football team and the Barramundis the best in their upcoming matches.
So good luck to you boys. And on behalf of the PNG LNG Kumuls, we wish you all the best. With you all the way in doing our beloved PNG proud. So good luck to all the sports teams.
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. We'll have further weather report after the break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, fine in Port Mosby and Alatau, cloudy in Daru, a shower or two in Kerma, mostly fine in Popondetta. To the Momasa region, thundery showers expected in Lae, mostly fine in Wau and Madang, fine weather in Wewak and Vanimo. To the New Guinea Islands region, fine in Lorengau, a shower or two in Kavieng, mostly fine in Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And finally, in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, you can expect some showers with morning fog. And that's the news, sports and weather for today, Saturday the 28th of May 2016. From all of us here at EMTV, you have a pleasant evening. Good night.